Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex P. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Wednesday, November 29th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, ready to break down the Wednesday card, a small Wednesday card, as usually is the case. 3 games tonight, including a TNT television matchup with the Detroit Red Wings and the New York Rangers. We want to thank everyone for making the betcast so enjoyable last night. Once again, a fantastic, fun betcast. And nice to at least end the night with that draw with Vegas and Edmonton. That was really nice to hit that late in the night. Had some winners, had some losers, ups and downs for really the whole night, pregame bets and live bets, but it was a lot of fun. And as always, we appreciate those that not only tuned in on YouTube, were in the chat, but especially those that joined us on the stream last night. And we thank you for making the betcast what it is. And that's a fun experience each and every time. Lots of games, obviously, last night, Alex, but a great time and another exciting, fun, and enjoyable betcast last night.
Yeah, absolutely. Had a wonderful time. It was a solid turnout. Like I said, bets were, up and down for the night. Like I said, every betcast isn't going to be just a slam dunk where we have winners throughout the evening. There was saw some nice hits. Got the New Jersey Devils. They came back and won. Grabbed that at plus 285. So that was my biggest hit of the night. Like you said, you got the draw in Vegas Oilers at the end of the night. So it was a really fun time. Shout out to everybody who came through. Shout out to Cake. It's unfortunately, I was hammering this thing like crazy. Got a little bit of a crack in it, but reach out to them. But shout out to Cake for hooking us up with the Glory rig and some cool things as well. So made the night that much more enjoyable. And can't wait for the next betcast.
Yeah, no doubt. And Rico, Landon in the chat. We see you now. IceX. 3 of you definitely were part of the betcast on the stream last night. Tim York, Goose as well. We appreciate it very much. And by the way, special shout out to Rocco Rogers in our chat, who is apparently in the hospital right now. So get well soon. Hope you feel better. And we're glad you're showing the dedication, man. Listening in the hospital to the show. That's awesome. But get well soon. We hope you do. Just quickly on last night's games, because we did talk about them a lot during the betcast. Toronto thinks they lose the game in a shootout, and then they win the game in a shootout, as it was reviewed the potential game-winning goal in the shootout from Evan Rodriguez that he hit the puck twice with his stick. It gave Toronto a new life, and Toronto ended up winning the shootout 2-1 against Florida. Great comeback, as Alex mentioned, by New Jersey to beat the Islanders 5-4. As they rally from a 4-2 deficit with 3 unanswered goals in the third period, and more issues with the Islanders holding leads. That's been a problem for them all season, and it was again last night. Carolina, very efficient road win, 4-1 in Philly. The predictable first game with the new head coach works out well for the Minnesota Wild as they beat the St. Louis Blues 3-1. Pretty solid defensive effort, really, and they pretty much clamped down after the first period. And even Matt Boldy gets one of the goals, and he is someone that needs to step up for Minnesota in the wake of the firing of Dean Evison if this team is going to get on a run. Nashville blows a 2-0 lead, but they win in overtime 3-2 over the Pittsburgh Penguins. Dallas, Jake Ottinger with a big bounce-back performance. His last start was that ugly showing against Calgary where they let up 7 goals and couldn't hold a lead of their own, but a great road win for Dallas against a very good Winnipeg team, 2-0 last night. Chicago, what a job by them, 4-3 over Seattle last night. Nice home win for the Hawks. 3-1 Arizona, disappointing to see the over fall short there, but credit to Connor Ingram, playing well, solid defensive effort, not enough finish from Tampa Bay. Steven Stamkos misses a wide-open net on one of his chances, pretty much summed up the night for Tampa Bay, unable to finish any of their chances, really. Edmonton, not making it easy on their fans, putting them through the emotional, mental ringer, if you will, but blowing a 4-2 lead, letting Vegas tie it. It was nice to cash the live draw on that game at plus 400, but Edmonton rescues themselves in overtime, or in a shootout, rather, and gets the 5-4 win over the Golden Knights. It's now 3 straight wins for Chris Knobloch and the Edmonton Oilers. Signs of life, signs of maybe them putting a streak together And like I said, after they beat Washington to get this win streak started, they've got to reel off 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row, or 9 of 10, 10 of 12, something like that, if they're really going to make it feel like they're getting back into the mix. So they can't rest on this 3-game win streak. Nice start, but you got to keep building if you're the Edmonton Oilers. And Vancouver, 3-1 win against Anaheim. They kind of had a sleepy second period, but pretty much the better team in the first and the last frame of that game. So they get the 3-1 win against Anaheim, whose struggles continue. Alex, any final thoughts on all the action from last night?
Yeah, well, like I said, a big win for the Minnesota Wild, which was unfortunate for me. I loved St. Louis in that spot, and like I said, just ran into a buzzsaw. I made that bet early, trying to get the best of the number. Thought that number was absurd. And then, of course, the Wild make the call to fire Dean Evason. They bring in John Hines, and that sparked. And that sparked not exactly the whole tale of the story either. St. Louis did not play nearly as well as they've been playing in their last few games. So that combination of the two is what kind of led to that loss. But that was an unfortunate best bet winner, one of my bigger plays on the year. Falls, like I said, New Jersey coming back, were able to grab that plus 285 live. That was a solid win for them. The Islanders continuing to have these high-scoring games and continuing to lose in these high-scoring games. So that's something we'll look to ride on as well. Chicago with a nice win, 4-3 over Seattle. That's a good win for them. Like I said, with all the other circus stuff that's going on around with them, they just focusing on hockey and getting the 2 points at home. That's a nice effort for Luke Richardson's club, most definitely. Toronto, we talked about how, can't really trust this team. Hard to look at them on a Tuesday night. They get the 2-1 win, but in a shootout. So those of you who cash on the draw, a nice looking, nice play there for sure. Those are the 3 games that really kind of stuck out. Like I said, Nashville and Pittsburgh too. Got that first period overlap, thankfully, which kind of helped because we were almost close to sweeping the board. Both teams to score in the first period. We got it with Seattle, Chicago. We got it with St. Louis and Minnesota, but we needed it. It fell a little bit short with that on Pittsburgh, Nashville, but we did get the first period over live in the betcast. So it was nice to have those winners in the pocket as well.
No doubt. Excuse me. Fun betcast, though. It really was, and we appreciate everyone joining us for it. All right, we got 3 games tonight. We will begin with Montreal and Columbus here. The Blue Jackets minus 130, the resurgent Columbus Blue Jackets minus 130, home favorite, 6.5 the total. They are playing, I think, probably their best hockey of the season right now. They went through their own turmoil, their own losing streak. 9-game losing streak is how big it got to for Columbus. But since then, they have turned a corner, playing some better hockey and putting some good wins on the board. You beat New Jersey and Boston in 2 of your last 3 games. You're doing something right. So big time credit to the Columbus Blue Jackets for playing some solid hockey. Not a team I'm really rushing to bet against right now. But here's the thing. We've seen certainly Columbus play better, win against New Jersey. Could have beat Carolina. Let's not forget they were up 2-0 in the third period of that game. They lose 3-2. And then, of course, the 5-2 home win against Boston. So they really are that close to 3-0 in their last 3 games. But I'm not rushing to lay a price with them now as favorites. It's a different role for them. It's a role they're not accustomed to. At the same time, Montreal's coming into this game with a 4-6 road record, which isn't great. They've had their own inconsistencies. They win 2 in a row against Anaheim and San Jose. Start the road trip. They get blanked by LA 4-0, although LA is a juggernaut right now. Kings are playing just awesome hockey, both ends of the ice. There's no shame in that. Power play has been struggling here for Montreal. They've gone 6 straight without a power play goal. That's been a bit of an issue for them as we've seen that. And then really it's hard to believe they're struggling that much on the power play when you look at who they can throw out there. There's definitely a team that's roster-wise capable of a better power play than what we have seen here from the Montreal Canadiens. But they definitely have had their issues in that regard. We'll see if they can get that going here tonight, because Columbus earlier in the season that just had a wretched penalty kill. They've been better lately. We'll see if that can keep going here tonight in this game. You look at the goaltending matchup, it will be Samuel Montembeault for Montreal. Elvis Merzlikins here in net for the Columbus Blue Jackets in this game. These 2 teams just played in Montreal about a month ago, late October, 4-3 win for Montreal in overtime. 3 of the last 4 meetings have gone over the total as well between these two teams. So that's what I'm looking at here primarily. Is this game over 6.5? I know Alex has been looking at first period, both teams to score. I can make a case for that, certainly in this game as well. I might sprinkle a smaller bet on that with the both teams to score in the first, but primarily I like over 6.5. I don't even think the draw is a bad option either. Talk about an overtime game in Montreal last month. I expect a pretty competitive matchup here in this game. Montreal, you look at them recently and the way they've been playing, a lot of their losses have been of the competitive variety. 6-5 to Vegas, 2-1 to Calgary, 4-3 to Anaheim. They beat San Jose 3-2 in a shootout. They did get shut out 4-0 by LA, but like I say, the Kings are feeling themselves right now with the way they're playing. We'll get to them in just a moment. So maybe a sprinkle on the draw, sprinkle on the first period, both teams to score. Primarily, though, I like over 6.5 most of all here, Canadians, Blue Jackets. Alex, what do you think here, Montreal, Columbus?
Yeah, my pregame bet is the draw. I grabbed that at plus 335 at Bet Online. Definitely would look at the over, but I would kind of wait. I think we can grab first period and full game overs at better adjusted prices in game. I don't think we'll get scoring too early. So this is a more of a live look for me, but definitely we'll grab some of the draw for you.
All right, liking the draw, looking at some live overs potentially. As far as the prop market goes, there is a Russian contingent on this team right now, that is really starting to percolate here for the Columbus Blue Jackets. I mean, Kirill Marchenko's been excellent. I mean, you got to start right there as far as goal props tonight if you're looking at Columbus. He's got 3 goals in the last 4 games, 4 points in those games, really heating up, playing on the top line now for the Columbus Blue Jackets. He's that goal-scoring right winger that the Jackets were hoping they'd get with Lyonnais this year. But lately, it's been Marchenko, who's been on that line with Jenner and Gaudreau that has really been heating up for them. So, yeah, that's an obvious choice there as far as player props. Don't sleep on young Dmitry Voronkov either for the Blue Jackets. The 23-year-old here has 2 goals in the last 4 games. He might be worth a look as well. Shinnikov, too, a goal and an assist in the last game against Boston. So that trio of Russians here, definitely has been getting the job done lately for the Blue Jackets. On the Montreal side of the fence, they have had, a tough run, actually, believe it or not, for Cole Caulfield. Just relatively speaking, he just hasn't been quite lighting it up like we become accustomed to from him, and you look at it, he finally, though, snapped a 6-game goalless drought against San Jose, but still, that's the only goal he has scored in his last 8 games. So offense has been hard to come by right now for Caulfield, but the one thing he is doing is shooting the puck. So shots on goal wise, you might still be able to look toward Caulfield tonight. You would think at some point, though, one of these opportunities for him is going to find the back of the net. I certainly still think Alex Newhook in particular is the best value player prop right now for Montreal, simply because he's been moved up to the top line. He did have 2 goals a few games ago when they faced Anaheim. So Alex Newhook playing with Gallagher and Nick Suzuki on the top line might be worth a look there as well for player props in that game. All right, we move along to the TNT national TV game for this Wednesday night, Detroit and New York. People that were hoping tonight would be the Red Wings debut of Patrick Kane. Going to be disappointed. TNT might be a little disappointed too. He is not going to make his Detroit debut tonight. We've got the Rangers minus 200 home favorites in this game, and the total 6 shaded to the under here in this one. This was my weekly NHL article write-up for Oddspedia, by the way, which actually I should post that because I haven't posted the link yet on social media, but I will after the show. I made a case for Detroit, but man, a lot of things have changed since then. I mean, you're not going to see Dylan Larkin. Kane's not going to make his debut. You've got an angry Rangers team. You've got, obviously, Adam Fox activated from the long-term injury reserve list. He'll be back for this game. So, it's just based on the pricing and the form that I've seen out of Detroit lately, which has been pretty good. Like, they've played really good hockey, Detroit. They're entering this game on a 3-game win streak. They've played well. They've been scoring goals in bunches again. Their defensive play has stepped up. No question about that. And they played each other earlier this month. It was 5-3 Rangers, but it was a very even game. It was 32-28 in shots. If you look at it, Detroit didn't play a bad game that night. And now they're in revenge mode. It's just that I don't like the Larkin's out. I don't like that, Adam Fox is out, or that the Rangers are off a 4-goal loss at home against the Buffalo Sabres. That being said, I do think the Rangers, there's a part of me, the reason I kind of lean Detroit in the article is because I kind of think the Rangers are due for their hiccup. Okay, you're not going to cruise along. They're not going to go 15-4 in their next 19 games like they did in the first 19. There's going to be some hiccups. There's going to be some regression. There's going to be a little bit of a bump in the road coming up for the New York Rangers. You just are you're not going to see too many instances of last year's Boston Bruins, where you just roll through the regular season without much adversity. And when I look at the form of the Detroit Red Wings, it's better form right now than a plus 170 underdog. So I'm going to stick to it, and a couple sprinkles on Detroit here, plus 170, but nothing significant here with that. What do you think here, Alex? Red Wings, Rangers.
Yeah, the only thing I like here is both teams to score in the first period. Plus 165. That's a great number. I've been seeing mostly between 140 and 150. And like you said, I think Detroit could, definitely give some punch back early. We've seen them show up early in games lately. Like I said, it's been a team that's not necessarily streaking with first period overs, but they've definitely have seen more pace and a much kind of speedier starts to games. Like I said, with the Rangers coming off of a big loss, that's a team that I always like to back, especially early in a contest to show some momentum. So both teams to score plus 165 is a good number here. Maybe look for, if we get a little bit of time early, grab a first period over in game at plus rest as well.
Yeah. All right. First period, both teams to score. Yeah. The full game total, I'm not anything significant for me on it. It could go either way, but I could see it, 1-1 after the first and it settles down after that. Very possible. Just the Rangers, you when you look at the way the Buffalo game went, they're going to have Adam Fox back. They do have Kakko and Hedl, by the way, still out for them. You just worry that tonight they really try to tighten things up a little bit as the game goes on. We'll see. And that's why, as far as the total goes, now it did go over when they played back in early part of November in this building. It was 5-3 Rangers that night. 5-3 Rangers win over the Detroit Red Wings, and we saw Husso and Quick though that night. Keep that in mind. It was a John Quick night for the Rangers. It's Shesterkin versus Husso here tonight for the goaltending matchup. There are a couple props I like here though. David Perron is the guy for Detroit right now. Keep an eye on him. He's streaky. He is a guy that scores his goals in bunches. He can go several games without one, and then all of a sudden he starts to heat up. And David Perron, especially now with Larkin out tonight for this game, even more opportunity for him on the power play. He has goals in back-to-back games, 3 goals in the last 2 games for Detroit. So I'm liking David Perron here for the Detroit Red Wings here. I think his props, especially the goal prop, might be worth a look here tonight in this game. We've also got JT Compher, who's moving on up to the top line center spot. So look for maybe some prop value for him tonight, playing between Lucas Raymond and the Cat, Alex DeBrincat. And JT Compher's really been on a great streak here for Detroit. Over his last 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games, we've got a total of 11 points in the last 10 games for JT Compher. The majority of them assists, only a couple of them goals, but straight out of Compher, he's got it rolling right now, at least with the assists in particular for Detroit. So let me see what that assist prop. This might be one where you could take point prop at minus 110. You could sprinkle on the goal prop plus 350, but I think primary look has to be assist prop for JT Compher plus 160. He has been racking up the assists for the Detroit Red Wings of late. Kopp as well against his old team. I think he did score actually against New York when they played earlier this month. Kopp scored one of their goals against the Rangers, again, former team. So Kopp is worth a look there. For the Rangers, against this Detroit team, if I'm going to look at a couple players, it would be probably the surging Zibanejad, who's been good lately. And probably Lafreniere, take a chance with him as well. I think he is someone, too, that against Detroit got on. He didn't score, but he got an assist against Detroit. So there's a couple instances. Maybe Adam Fox back in the lineup. You take a shot with him, not just the point prop, but the assist prop in particular for Adam Fox tonight. Minus 125. Point prop, minus 160 is a little too pricey. So maybe you take a shot that he gets 2 points. But if you're okay with laying a minus 160 price, I think the point prop for Adam Fox might be a consideration here in this one as well. All right, final game, late night West Coast action, Washington Capitals taking on the LA Kings. I can't think of a worse matchup for Washington here. LA minus 220, home favorites, 6 being the total in this game. I'd actually lean under in this game, quite honestly, with the total, because, unless LA is going to do a bulk of the scoring, it's hard to envision Washington chipping in. This is one of the best, and they've certainly been one of the best defensive teams for the last couple weeks, the LA Kings, against probably one of the worst offensive teams in the NHL, the Washington Capitals, who have cooled off, by the way, after that win streak. And the offense has gone completely dead as a doornail again for Washington since that shutout loss to Edmonton. 2 straight losses to the Oilers and the Sharks after that win streak, and they've scored a grand total of just 1 goal in the last 2 games. And it's not going to get much easier here against this LA Kings team that, remember, early in the season, they were at home and they were not playing great and they were giving up a bunch of goals. Well, not anymore. Look at this impeccable run of defensive prowess by the LA Kings. You go back their last 9 games, shut out Philly, 1 goal allowed to Vegas. They had 4 against Pittsburgh in a tough spot off a very long trip on a back-to-back. And then after that, they got their game back again against Florida. They gave up just 1 goal. St. Louis, 1 goal. Arizona, 1 goal. Anaheim, 2 goals. And then a shutout against Montreal over the weekend. So this is a team that's not given up a whole lot. I'm going to throw a curveball at everybody here, and I'm actually going to bet this. And I hate my unders, but I'm actually going to bet this here. How about Washington team total under 2.5 in this game? How about that? I think that's not a bad way to go if you want to somehow, some way back LA, in some way, shape, or form here in this game. I think that's not a bad way to go here in this one, because especially if Cam Talbot's in net and he is the projected starting goalie, not confirmed yet, I might get a little cold feet on this if it's Copley, but as of right now, Talbot is expected to be in net. Kemper expected to start right now for Washington. But I just don't know if this team's capable of getting the 3 goals against LA. A Kings team that shut out Montreal, that only gave up 2. Basically, I'll say this right now. LA hasn't given up 3 goals to their opponent in 5 straight games coming into this one tonight. And now you've got a Washington team that scored just once against. It's not like Edmonton and San Jose are defensive juggernauts, for crying out loud. And here are the Capitals scoring just 1 goal against those 2 teams combined. The Washington power play is horrendous. It's been hideous this year, and they just happen to be up against an LA penalty kill that's given up just 1 power play goal in the last 9 games. So the penalty kill for LA has been awesome. The Washington power play has been horrendous. So it's a matchup where do the goals come from for Washington? Unless LA is completely fast asleep and totally loose defensively, which has not been the case lately. So I think if I were to bet anything in this game, side or total, it would be that. It would be a Washington team total under 2.5, which is around minus 110, minus 120 with that. Alex, what do you think here? Capitals.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm staying away from the side in total because I'm looking at previous history. It says Washington plays well against LA, 6-2 the last 8. Like I said, this is by far the worst Capitals team we've seen in that stretch, and one of the better, if not the best, Kings team we've seen in this current stretch. So you throw the history out. They said you definitely have to lean towards anything LA and everything anti-Washington. But that's an interesting look with a team total under. Like I said, something I don't normally play, but that's probably the only thing you can kind of look at that's more Capital-centric, if anything. So I have a player prop here that I like that's we're going to talk about just a little bit, and it's an intriguing twist on a top player. So that's the only thing I'm going with is my bargain bin special coming up.
All right, there we go. So Alex has a bargain bin special of the night lined up for this Wednesday card. And I'm just looking at series history. You're right, Washington, believe it or not, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-2 the last 8 meetings, including years ago they won a couple in LA, and they actually won in LA 2 years ago. Although last year in LA, the Kings beat them 4-2 in March last season. And I should point out too, even the game that Washington won in LA a couple seasons ago, they only scored 2 goals. It was a 2-0 Washington shutout win. So actually, in the last 2 meetings in LA, Washington has scored 2 goals in each meeting. So that would be good for the team total, definitely.
And in the full games, you're talking about 5-1-1 to the under in the last 7 overall.
Yeah. So I like that. If This will be the last under I bet for a while again if this loses, because I really legitimately, genuinely like this bet. But my luck with unders has been horrendous.
Here's what you're doing. You take a half or whatever you're planning to do. I don't know how many units, but whatever you're planning to bet, take half of it and go under 6 now. Wait, hope for an early goal, and then you'll grab a 7.5, and then maybe like the 5 minutes left, that 7.5 becomes plus money. Now you grab that under, and then you secured yourself with a better shot.
Yeah, it's not a bad strategy. That's not a bad strategy at all. No question. But like I say, I like this. It makes sense. Washington offense is stagnant. Their power play is hurt. Like they haven't scored a power play goal in November. I'm pretty confident they have not scored a power play goal in November. That is unreal. That's unfathomable that a team could go a whole calendar month and upwards of 10, 11 games without scoring a power play goal. That's where Washington is at right now with the man advantage. So, as far as I'm concerned, for me, the best approach here is that Capitals team total under 2.5 minus even money, only minus 110, minus 120. So reasonable price there as well. For props, I wouldn't be looking at Washington props. That's for sure. Only LA. And, when you look at their offense lately, Perlo is talking about Trevor Moore. It's hard to ignore it. 4 goals in the last 3 games, multi-point games in 3 straight. Yeah, I think the over 1.5 points probably is worth a shot. Like I say, you want those players that are really surging, the multi-game point streaks, and he is on that right now for the LA Kings. You know what's funny? He's only -1. He's dirt cheap to get 1 point, minus 120 in this game. But if you wanted to bump it up to 1.5 plus 320, it might be worth a look. 2 points in 3 straight games for Trevor Moore. So, absolutely. Goal prop, assist prop, point prop, maybe even a little over 1.5 points because he's gotten multi-points in 3 straight. So nothing wrong with any of those. Nothing wrong with those.
Well, we might as well go to the next segment because that's my play.
Oh, my goodness. There we go. I just gave it away.
Great job, Perlo. No, Perlo nailed it in the chat first.
Yeah. So, very well, good. Very nice. Good stuff indeed. The only other one I might consider, just because, as long as he's getting those opportunities with Kopitar and Kempe on the top line for LA, Quinton Byfield is just never, ever priced like those two. And he is actually, if you look at the last few games, 2 goals in the last 4 games, and he's got a point in 3 of the last 4 games. So my 2 favorite props by far for LA tonight, Trevor Moore, Quinton Byfield, no question. And both of them undervalued. Both of them starting to heat it up as well right now for the LA Kings. Great stuff from the chat. Hit the like button. We told you it would be a short show with just the 3 games. We appreciate it. The betcast was awesome last night. We appreciate you guys joining us very much. Again, we've got we're going to iron out the YouTube family plan membership stuff, but don't forget the Patreon page is still there. Patreon.com/Ice Guys. That's still there, just $10 a month as well. And the store, Alex, I'm sure you'll talk about that. Christmas is on the way. Get some merch right before the holiday season.
Yes, 5 days left. You can get 15% off your order and free standard shipping, which is the perfect time to do this right now, because with standard shipping, it means you are definitely assured at this moment, this window, to get your gifts in time for Christmas. So don't miss out. 15% off and free standard shipping now until Sunday. That's at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. That's iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
Yeah, I was just thinking, all these players for Washington with their you got to start doing until they show you they can capitalize with the power play is start stringing together some same game parlay under power play points props for Washington players. Just take every Washington player under there, and that's what you should be doing, man. I might watch them obviously score a goal tonight on the power play because I'm ready to start doing that. But that's something I should start looking into because this power play is getting to the point of historically bad for the Washington Capitals. So same SGP of every Washington player that has their power play points posted, just take them all under, put them all in one parlay because they're not scoring any power play goals. So no one's going to get a point. So, if they keep going over with the man advantage every game, there you go. That's going to be something I start to consider doing. No question. Should have been doing it a long time ago, quite honestly. All right, a bargain bin special of the night. We already kind of tipped it off, but Alex, reiterate it for us. A bargain bin special from that LA game.
Yeah, Trevor Moore, over 1.5 points. I got plus 320 at PointsBet. Like I said, he's just been on a hot run, especially as far as multi-game or multi-point games right now. So Trevor Moore plus 320 over 1.5 points, just making that cut for the criteria as bargain special tonight.
All right, there we go. Trevor Moore over 1.5. Yeah, I mean, certainly 2 points now in 3 straight games. Yeah, this is the NHL. So Washington, Barry Smith, maybe they do show up tonight. LA is just asleep. That's what it's going to take probably. LA to play just a awful game, which they have not done for a long time now, and Washington to play, above their heads, and Kemper to have a really good game, which he hasn't had too many of this year. I'm trying to see what's on out. The one thing I'm looking ahead now is LA does play Colorado next. That's not till the weekend, though. I don't know if I consider that a look ahead spot. That's still far enough away. That game's not till December 3rd. That's on Sunday. You shouldn't be looking that far ahead as far as, this contest with Washington. But, yeah, very, very interested to see how this one goes tonight with the Capitals and the Kings. My bargain bin special for this game is a couple of decent looks here for me. As far as that goes, but I look at a couple in the LA game, certainly the Detroit game. There's a couple that stand out as far as player props go. But for me, I'm going to go back to the. Let me just see which game it was that I was thinking. Oh yeah, it was Detroit and the Rangers, and I am going to go with against his former team. He did score against them. Earlier this month when they played at Madison Square Garden. We're going to go with Andrew Kopp plus 490 for the Detroit Red Wings. I like Perron as well, but Perron's not bargain bin price material. And I like Compher as well, but more so assists. I think for a goal, Andrew Kopp for the Detroit Red Wings tonight. And also another thing to factor in with Kopp is because of the Larkin absence, he's now the second line center, playing between Berggren and Fabry. There's another two that might be undervalued too. Berggren back in the lineup. Berggren had 28 points last year and 15 goals with the Rangers. Don't sleep on Jonathan Berggren. He's a very talented kid. And I think definitely playing with Kopp, you could see him chip in. Robbie Fabry, a healthy Robbie Fabry is a dangerous Robbie Fabry. I've said that over and over again. And he has 2 goals in the last 3 games. So that whole line, I think, is worth a look tonight. Kopp, Fabry, and Berggren on the Detroit side. No question about that. So I'm going to go with Kopp, though, plus 490 for Detroit for my bargain bin special of the night. All right, best bets to wrap it up on this Wednesday edition of the Ice Guys. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
Yeah, we're going to go with that Rangers Red Wings. Both teams to score in the first period, plus 165. That's a great number. I think we're going to see some good pace back and forth. That's better than the first period over, which is something we'll be looking for live. Try and grab that at a plus price as well. But Rangers Red Wings, both teams to score in the first period, plus 165. That's my Wednesday best bet.
All right, there you go. Liking it there. Both teams to score first period, Red Wings and Rangers. Best bet for Alex B. Smith in this one or in that game. All right, my best bet. I'm going to go back to that first game with Montreal Columbus over 6.5 minus 110 is the best number you can get. 3 of the last 4 meetings have gone over the total. Columbus has actually been trending over on their home ice lately, including the Boston game just recently. Montreal got into a slog against San Jose, shut out by an awesome LA team defensively that's been playing well. I think this is the game. San Jose's been slowing games down lately. LA, we know, is a juggernaut right now in terms of defensive hockey and keeping the puck out. I think this is an opportunity for Montreal to kind of flex their offense a little bit more now, playing this Jackets team. I think we'll see enough goals both ways. So Blue Jackets, Habs, over 6.5, minus 110 for best bet. That'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. Thanks to everyone for joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. We appreciate it very much. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Wednesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will talk to you again tomorrow on Thursday for another edition of the Ice Guys.